We back. We back. What's going on, people? At you with another one. A lot of emotional damage. Lots of emotional damage. And what's going on, unbiased? And a lot of times, man, we have this emotional damage due to a lot of us just dealing with a lot of stress, coping with things in life, getting played to the left, you know. I always talk about finance. So emotionally from the side of finance, people are suffering from lack of knowledge. You know, generally speaking, um, issue at hand, a lot of people getting over on people because they just don't know. You know, knowing the math, knowing how things work keeps you out of a lot of trouble. When you tend to, follow the path of least resistance, you're gonna get a lot of pushback. And saying that to say this, when it come down to you learning about money, you have a better understanding. It helps you save more. You know, prime example, buying a car. Everybody think that you have to have a car. This is the American dream. This what needs to be done. We need to have a car. You can't go nowhere. There's there's countries that everybody either have bikes or they walk, get all the exercise. We need a car. So even in New York, I've known people come from New York, haven't had license in years. I'm talking about older people in their 40s and 50s, not just young people. 40s and 50s, never had a license a day in their life. In New York, they catch the train, they catch a cab. So it was to a point where they didn't need license. But the stress of, people going to different areas and see that they need license. One of the few of the biggest rappers, one being Noriega, podcast, Drink Champs, real good, nice. This guy was getting tickets with no license, and he's a multimillionaire. He just never got to the point of wanting to get licensed. And this guy is a multimillionaire. And, you know, to a point when he moved to Miami, he said, "Man, I need to go and get my license. I'm getting pulled over for going to get, blunt wraps or drinks or whatever from the store, driving a car." Because it's normal for him to say, "Man, let me just grab the keys, go grab something, come home." I know how to drive. I just prefer, just not really, to get my license. Tamika Davis is going on. And so you have people like that. Another one, Method Man. Method Man, one of the biggest iconic rappers with the Wu Tang Clan. This guy haven't had his license. So, like I said, the stress on that, and then getting into the aspect of buying a car. Going back to the American dream of owning a home, that car is in there somewhere. Because needless to say, when it comes down to it, buying a car, people get emotionally triggered. You have to get the biggest, the best, the brightest car. You know, I have a 98 Dodge Ram. I actually drive my Dodge Ram a lot, use it mainly for work, hauling. It looks beat up, it has a lot of dents in there. But the thing of it is, it's a work truck. I use it strictly for work. I commute back and forth to work with it, but also I use it for work as well. So it gets me from point A to point B. The insurance is not that expensive on it. And then overall, it drives, signals, everything I need for it to work good. True, I can go get a newer truck with all the bells and whistles, the Bluetooth and stuff like that. But if I'm only in the vehicle a certain amount of time, what good is it me having everything from, like you say, point from A to Z in the truck, and I'm only using it, a few hours. Now, taking long trips, road trips with it is good, but how many times do people actually take long road trips where they need all the bells and whistles. You know, boss lady in the building, what's going on? And over time, you literally spend so much money on these vehicles. And that's what's really hurting a lot of people. The interest rate is astronomical. You got to have A1 credit to at least get up to anything below a 10%. I say 9%, 7%. And that's, pretty much the people with good credit is the norm at 7%. You know, I'm talking about my friend. Shout out to Queen, his country girl, Queen in the building. What's going on with you? And the crazy part is his wife never got anything. I think even when she first started buying cars, she was always in the single digits. She had A1 credit, you know. She had all the nice bells and whistles with the cards, max limits, 20,000, $50,000 limits. So her first car was purchased by a family. So when she began to purchase her own car, she went in there, talked to the dealer. They tried to give her these crazy rates. Well, this is what happens when you get your first car. I got the talk. I took it and said, I guess so. I went on. I think the first car I signed was 28%. Second car I signed was 16%. And I was like, well, I guess this is the way of doing business. No, from my side, this is how I was looking at it for myself. And I was never really taught about this with the credit side. Cruising is fun anytime. What's going on with you? Try to get over there to that 9 o'clock uh boat horn. But yeah. So, I'm not ashamed of it. I didn't know. 28% my first time buying a vehicle, 16 on the second vehicle I bought, you know. But majority between those two, I was paying cash for cars. I would always try to save up $3,000 to $5,000 and go pay cash for a car. You know, why pay so much money for a vehicle when I don't have to? It gives me the point A to point B. The newer cars, you got to pay more on insurance. And nowadays, newer cars are going like just crazy with maintenance. One of my friends, he had a car. He had a 2023 pickup truck. He already having transmission issues, and this car is no more than what 3 years old. It's a 2023, so it's the year before, so it's 2022, 2023, and now 2024. 3-year-old car, and he's already having issues with it. Less than 20, I think he said he has less than 40,000 miles on it, 20 or 40, but either or, it's still crazy. Less than 40,000 miles on it. 3 years of having a car, and you are already having transmission issues. It used to be to the T. That's why they give you a powertrain warranty over 100,000 miles, due to the fact that they test these cars. They know they went from aluminum and certain type of parts that they put on there now plastic, due to the fact that they know that these parts are gonna break. They literally dog these cars out prior to see how they work. When you look at concept cars, when you see a concept car at a car show, those concept cars are already in play. They're already being, you know, produced on a small scale, testing them, driving them hard every day, the worst conditions, the best conditions. They know what your car is gonna break. They know when your fan belt is gonna break. They literally know Mercedes switch from this aluminum housing for the thermostat to like this little plastic hard coating. They literally know when that thing is gonna break. They already got it breaking at 65, I think 65 or 70,000 miles. And to the T, everybody's coming in there around that, mile marker and fixing that housing for that thermostat. And Bunny Rose, what's going on? How you doing? Morning, morning. And it's crazy because a lot of times people really don't do the math. I actually bought this SUV, and I'm usually to the point where I look up the cars and everything before I buy them, and I found out this was a good car. about a Dodge Journey. Now, looking into the specs on everything, one thing was I didn't do all my research on YouTube. I did a lot of it, on different car sites. I didn't find out till after I bought this car that because of the powerful motor on this vehicle, the transmission goes out, you know, relatively not easy, but over time, depending on how you drive. And there's no significant, say, well, it goes out in 5 months, it goes out in this one, you know. Due to that, I might have to get a transmission. So guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna get an extended warranty on it, you know. I'm back and forth, everything all off the subject, but it's still dealing with emotion right now. But I mean, the thing of it is, like I say, buying a car, you're going through so much trauma trying to fit in and compete with society. You know, do I want to get the Benz and look stylish with everybody? The Mercedes. Do I want to shoot for getting a Tesla or a Bugatti? I mean, not even a Bugatti, but more or less like a Lamborghini. You know, people, you want these cars, but you really don't know the maintenance on them. It's stressful. Prime example, T Pain said he had got a Bugatti. It has three Cadillac converters. Each Cadillac converter, Lisa J. Stock, what's going on with you? Morning, morning. And the crazy part about the Cadillac converter, that Cadillac converter, not just one, but three. Each one of them is $80,000. $80,000 for the Cadillac converter. Now, for people that know cars, Bugatti's a relatively $1 million car. Relatively $1 million car. The parts on them alone is so expensive. The framing, like if you get into an accident in that car, it's pretty much total. Because the amount of money that the insurance has to pay to fix it, you pretty much you know, just get a new car. Same thing with this one guy. He ended up like, okay, prime example with that thing with T Pain. When he had the Cadillac converter went out, he had to switch all three of them out. $240,000. He went, sold that car, I think for 800,000 or 700,000. He ended up buying three vehicles. He bought a Mercedes. I think he bought a Mercedes, a BMW, and another economy like a Toyota or something. And he said, dude, if I would have did that the first time, I would have saved way more money, and I would have kept probably 300,000-400,000 in my pocket. But because I didn't, I took a major loss on this. And I'm like, just wondering how many people have taken a loss like this due to the point of them not even just considering. You want to look so much in luxury that you're actually spending so much. I mean, it's an emotional trigger to try to compete with everybody else or be in the likes of everybody else. Now, granted that most people who do buy these luxury cars, you got to understand this is a thing of marketing. You know, shout out to Alonzo. Alonzo, we talked about this. Dr. Dunbar. Dr. Dunbar had a discussion with this guy on YouTube by the name of Ray Alexander. And for those that don't know, Dr. Dunbar's Big Discussion 76 on YouTube. He has a Big Discussion 76, Big Discussions Science and Technology. He has Big Discussions Movies and Entertainment. He has Big Discussion Sports. So if you get a chance, follow all four channels. Great channel. But anyway, going back to the discussion, we were having a discussion about his car. So he has two cars. One of his car being I believe it was a Kia. I want to say it was the Rio, if I'm not mistaken. And the Kia boys got him. So what happened was he was at work. I believe it was a co-worker. I mean, not co-worker, neighbor or something. Contact him, let him know somebody broke into his car, fill out the police report and all this and things. But the reason why his car wasn't stolen was simply because He had a stick shift. At the time, they only had stick shifts, and granted, he said, "Well, I'll just get a stick. I know how to drive a stick." Needless to say, the Kia boys broke in his car, tried to steal his car, but couldn't, steal it. And we had the discussion about it, because I have a Hyundai as well. They stolen my car. And the crazy part is we were having a discussion about his car, and the guy Ray was like, "Well, hey, you you're a doctor, you're in the field of this and science and technology. Why you don't have a BMW?" And we laughed it off, and it was a thing to where why should he have a BMW? Who do you have to prove in order to get a BMW? And we had the discussion on the live, talked about it. Me, Alonzo, believe was his name, Searchy. We all had the discussion, and it's like competing with society. Is it really needed for a doctor to have a BMW? What's going on? Breeze in the building, Omega. Is it really needed for anybody to have a BMW? Is it needed for somebody to have a Honda? Is it needed for somebody that it depends on you? Like I said, as far as the promotional status piece, if I want to give you the idea that I'm doing well and because I look good in the car, I'm driving a nice car and I'm, setting a certain standard, okay, then that Benz work all day. Like I told my brother one time, I said he has a clothing company. Follow it if you want to. Shout out to the people. Follow the money. Follow the money 10. If you go to Instagram, follow the money 10 clothing company. Follow the money 10. And so I told him, I said, well, when the company takes off, I'm gonna actually go get a luxury car and either get it wrapped or I'm gonna, just put certain stickers on there to promote the brand on this luxury car. Because you gotta understand, due to the marketing, it's an emotional trigger to see something nice and it's being represented to that status. Most people, when you say Bugatti, majority of people will think somebody with luxury. If you think about a person, the first person I think about when I hear Bugatti is two people: Andrew Tate and Mayweather. Those are the main two people I think about when I hear the name Bugatti. Because Andrew Tate always talking about a Bugatti. I don't know if he has one or not, but Mayweather has three of them. You know, and just looking to the status, getting this car is going to represent a status of money, and that's the promotional piece that I'll be using, to have people understand with the clothing company that my brother has, and it's a thing. But a lot of people, they get triggered by certain things, and the crazy part is, I was in actually talking to someone, and I was saying if I see another group of, you know, men or a group of women that's all driving Benz. Like the women in Atlanta, there's no shot at women, but it's a lot of women that drive BMW. No, I'm sorry, Mercedes SUVs, and I'm like, are they giving these things away? Like, it's literally so many women driving these cars, and someone actually explained the blueprint on how they're getting these cars. And I'm not mad at it, but at the same time, explain the blueprint thoroughly. So let's say you have an LLC, you own your own business. You can actually take your paperwork down there and go get a Benz, you know, and they're going to give you a better rate because you own your own business. You already have proof of income showing that you make this much money, and your finance is going to be different than others. So that's how most people are coming in, getting these cars up under their company name, riding a nice car. And I was like, I'm not mad at the situation. Say, Queen, are they down there like that too? Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's more of a status thing to own the Benz, and it it represents that status aspect of owning that car. But deep in tail, when you do the math, most people can't afford those Benzes. And the emotional trigger is I gotta look the status. Prime example, um, a lady I dealt with, with business one time before, we were having a discussion, and she was saying how she got to the point in her life when she first started making money, when she made her first, I say $500,000, say the least. She wanted to keep up with the Joneses so bad that she went and bought this real nice house in a golf course neighborhood, and she sheltered herself from family, didn't want them to know she had this much money, and it got to a point where she said she wanted to show her money off. So she literally went to the family reunion, and each one of her kids, she has I think two daughters, and the two daughters and her all drove separate cars to the family reunion. She had the nice um Benz. One of the daughters had a Benz, and the other daughter had a Mercedes. The daughter with the SUV Mercedes, she got more I guess clout than the mom, and so she went and traded out her car for an SUV. And it's just a cycle of keeping up with the Joneses. And she said once she did all that, she understood, like, I'm doing all this for somebody else, emotional, for me as well, but emotionally, I'm trying to be accepted by other people. And it got to a point where she said, man, that Benz was costing me so much money with leaks and just issues down the line. I just went on ahead, traded it in, and got me a Nissan Rogue. And I said, well, the transmissions on those are bad. And she was like, see, I didn't know that. I said, well, that's another thing I have to trade my car in and get something else different. She went from this BMW trying to keep up with the Joneses because, like I said, it's an emotional trigger dealing with these issues and trying to also, be accepted by everybody to the point where she literally just screwed herself up in the process. Six Bowls in the building. What's going on with you? I literally got to figure out six to do this new thing with YouTube, because YouTube now has it to where the wrench is kind of hidden. When I tried to get somebody a wrench the other day, manifestation, I tried to give them a wrench yesterday, and I couldn't get to it. But other than that, like I said, it's the emotional trigger. I'm gonna get you though. Go ahead and give you a wrench. The emotional trigger of a lot of people having to fit in with society. I talked about buying a home the other day, and I was saying that it's so many ways, so many programs on buying a home, but everybody's stuck and has this mindset to where I got to rent, but the rent rate is steady going up. The rent rate steady going up. Yeah, I know. I don't really just I get people to rich more or less to go to search other people's channel better, because sometimes it's technically hard to find channels when you click on a name or search it in YouTube. So I do that for the purpose of actually helping people find the channels. I mean, I could care less about having a wrench or not on anybody's channel, but it just helped the situation. What's going on, Dr. Dunbar? I just was talking about it earlier about your car situation, and I was talking about mine. I was saying that when Ray tried to have the situation to say, "Hey, man, Doc, where's your Benz?" It's to a point that I don't have to be emotionally triggered to run out and go get a nice car just because. Like, prime example, I always tell this story about my wife. My wife always wants a Benz. She's ever since wanted a Benz, wanted a Benz, wanted a Benz. And I told her, I said, well, I'll buy the Benz on one condition. You pay the maintenance. You know, I said, I will buy the Benz or I either get a car note. But the thing is, you have to pay the maintenance on the car. So I had to go do the research, look it up, because we was ready to go buy. You know, I already had like $10,000 saved up, and I was like, well, if I can't get you one that's reasonable, for about 10,000, I just go ahead and do a note. But the thing of it is, if I pay the note and I do all that, you literally have to get the car fixed yourself. So she was fine with it, no problem. She's like, yeah, I do that. She was ready to get this Benz till she started looking at how much it costs to do the brakes. Start looking at how much it costs, you know, if it need a tune up. You know, most of the cars we have now, I do the tune up because they charge too much for nothing. Just taking out spark plugs, and some of them don't even have wires. They have coil packs now. But the point of it is, like I told her, you get that Benz, you pay the maintenance. I'm not touching the maintenance. Don't you know? After years and years of consideration, back and forth, yes, I want it. No, I don't want it. Finally got to a point where she talked to her cousin. Her cousin actually got rid of her Benz because the maintenance was killing her. She said her car was in the shop probably more than she actually drove it. And it got to a point my wife was like, what? Like this nice luxury car breaks down like that? And she was like, yes. She was like, you see, I switched from my X5 to the from an X5 SUV to a, I think it was a 320 something or whatever, the sedan. She switched to the sedan. And when she switched to the sedan, turned around having issues with that one as well. Her X5 didn't give her that much issues. She was having brake issues and things. And it got to a point where she was like, man, I'm literally just gonna give it up. And she ended up getting a Genesis. And that Genesis ride nice. She hasn't had new Genesis hasn't had many problems with it. My wife was like, well, I don't want a Benz no more. And I told her, I said, Benz are nice cars, but it requires you to have money when you have these cars. Because something go wrong, you're still gonna be paying a car note while your car's sitting in the driveway. Prime example, my grandfather had a Jaguar, and I believe it was the fuel pump went out. And I think it was like close to $1,800 with the fuel pump and something else, something small, like $1,800. And she literally was mad that she had to get that fixed. But that's what I told her. That's what's required with her and my granddad told. That's what's required when you have those luxury cars like that. Yeah. It's more of a like the status thing, man. Yeah, when you have those cars, they're nice, but like I said, it comes with a cost. Literally, it comes with a cost. And a lot of people, when it come down to it, they just don't know. And like I said, they're buying these cars. It's just like the whole sight unseen thing. You buy the car, you hoping that you're gonna, do good by it. Everything's gonna be all right. Then in total, something happens and you're looking like, man, I gotta pay this much to get it fixed. And that's the thing. It comes to a point where a lot of people just don't know. And like I said, buying these cars, you paying the maintenance. And don't let you get to a point of, you know, you being single and have to do it yourself, whether it be man or woman, you know. This is the situation at hand. You paying for the maintenance, you paying for all this stuff, still having to go back and forth to work, so you got to get your car fixed. Where's the money coming from? Most people literally don't have the money to fix their cars like that, so they're at a disadvantage, you know. And a lot of times we joke and we play about stuff, but honestly, it's serious when it comes to that status of, what are you gonna do? That's why I always talk about the saving aspect of keeping your money, trying to save as much as possible. A lot of people don't look at the rainy day when it come down to it. When it come down to it, you don't really look at rainy day money. You don't look at your savings. You don't really look at emergency money. You just spend as it comes. And I've gone to the fact that where I've told my wife, I said, well, we put money aside. Prime example for us now. I would say this is an emergency trip right here because this was not even planned this year. I was going to Jamaica this month. But at the same time, guess what? With us going to Jamaica, hey, it's for a family event. So to me, it's more of a last minute thing. Yeah, I mean, prime with that six. I like I said, I got a '98 Dodge Ram. I don't have all the bells and whistles on that thing, but the good part about it, it's a Dodge 1500, but it's 4x4. So I need the truck for the tow haul. That truck drives like a 2500 because of the 4x4. I can pull more. I have the bigger motor in there. I spent $4,000 on that pickup truck, and I got a trailer included. The guy wanted 35. I think he wanted 35 for the truck and 2,000 for the trailer. I talked him down on if I get both as a combo, will he give me a deal? And of course, great negotiation skills. I end up getting both of them for $4,000. What could he say? He really wanted to get rid of the truck. The trailer had minor issues, which I could have fixed myself. The door had an issue, the back door. Those doors are heavy on those trailers. And it's actually an enclosed trailer, so it's even more, better than a closed trailer. So it's an enclosed trailer with four tires, so it's a double axle. And just to me it was an all around better deal, man. I couldn't ask for a better deal. And end up getting the truck, getting the trailer. I use it to, haul stuff, move stuff. I'm actually renting the trailer out to a friend, and he's paying me every month because I don't have no need for it, and he has a need for it right now. And if I need it, I can also just come back and get it from him. But at the same time, it's something that he needs. Yeah. Only cars that I spend a lot of money on is my wife car, technically, because I want her to have no issue. Every time we got a car note, it was always because of my wife car. Other than that, we've always like I bought my cars cash. You know, try not to pay the interest. I try to deal with the concept just like most of the Indians do. They try to deal so much not in debt. A house is something that's you know something can't you can't avoid unless you literally have the money. But try to buy and deal things not in debt is pretty much detrimental to me. I like paying cash for everything, not having a car note, like it easy. The debt on cars. I really like buying older cars, not too old, but more older. I think the newest car we have is what a 2016. The other one is a 13. My old truck I had was a 10, and this other truck I got is a 98, and then the truck I had before that was a 2000 and what was it? I think my GMC. Oh, 2001. So literally at one point we had about four vehicles, and my wife she was like, "No, we're not paying all that." I had three pickup trucks and one car. So we had a Toyota. Hold on, what was year was a Toyota? I think no, it was a '08. So we had the '08. So it was four vehicles at one time. And I told my wife, if something ever happens to one or the other, we got cars. And then the crazy part was, and this is another hack for people, insurance in the city is more expensive than insurance in the country. When we was living out the outskirts of Atlanta, at least by probably 20 minutes, 20, 30 minutes outside of the city of Atlanta, around the perimeter, we had those four cars and we were literally paying what was it? Uh three 350, like close around 350 or something. When my wife explained it, and we moved into the city to our new address, because we were still going off our old address, our old house when we stayed out of the city. Soon as we moved, what's going on, Rudy? We literally pay three something for just two cars. That's the crazy part. Pay three something for two cars, and we just added a third car, so it was like four and some change. And the crazy part was they dropped us down from three something to like 250, and then once we added this new car, it went back up. Now, if we were in the outskirts, probably be paying like two. Like when my daughter was in school, I literally had we had 3 cars paying 219. 3 cars paying 219. It was crazy. I'm like literally crazy. And it went from that to paying all this money. So that's another thing. Like bills will get you emotionally triggered. Paying these car notes will get you emotionally triggered. Dealing with your rent, everything has its vices, dislikes and all that. So when it come down to it, like I said, get the knowledge, man. We're never too Lonzo, just for speaking you up, you and Dr. Dunbar earlier. We was having that discussion about that car and everything about Ray and the buying the Mercedes for Doc because he's a professional that he needs a high status car. And like I said, it's all depend on the person, you know. All depends on the person and what are you using the cars for. Actually, using your car as a status symbol, that's a promotion piece for people. Then to a point, if you just having a nice car and just driving it to make eyes, excuse me, to make eyes roll and say, hey man, he got a nice car. Hey, if that's your flavor, then do it. But the point of it is, you know, it's something gaining for this car. It's a status. It's something to talk about. Just like artwork. Somebody comes to your house, prime example, see your artwork. Oh man, it's nice. Where'd you get it from? Oh man, little something, you have something that you can talk about, you know. And like I tell people, get those cars, the maintenance come with it, you know. But like I said, a lot of emotional triggers, man, will literally have you doing things you don't want to do. Keeping up with the Joneses, trying to stay on the status with people. It's up to you, your preference. If you want to live that lifestyle, you got to take everything that comes with it, you know. And that's where a lot of people get triggered at. You buying something you can't afford it, you get emotionally triggered by it. Exactly. How much the status is worth to you? Because at the same time, you know, people who can afford these cars, you know, it's not a problem. But the ones who can't, trying to keep up with the people that can. And it's the emotional trigger till it gets to the point where I gotta look like this. I gotta compete like this. We have so many people influencing us online to be better, do better. You know, we're competing at a alarming rate to trying to catch up with everybody else versus us just having a point of, you know, being ourselves, doing what we want to do. The more you try to keep up with the Joneses or have that status like everybody else, you're putting yourself more in the debt, the system of default to where, filing bankruptcy, borrowing money from people, credit card debt status, because the biggest thing is emotionally trigger when you go to buy. Same things like the emotional eating of food. You know, you get depressed or something don't feel right, you just grab a donut, one donut turn into two, two turn into a dozen. Same thing with money. Most people they go out there emotionally triggered, want to have that nice little, watch like everybody else has, and then you turn around, you want to have the big screen TV like everybody else has, and then goes from there. Before status, I've always, you know, literally had a TV in every one of my kids' room. My wife, she do not like it. She didn't like it to the point of regretting it. But my thing of it was, I'm like teaching the kids responsibility to cut that TV off at night. Understanding, their responsibility. And it proved with my older kids, younger kids, not so much. These little kids are wild. They try to be up at 12 o'clock at night on a school night trying to watch TV. Thank you for that X5. I cut that internet off so quick. And I have it alarm set to at 10 o'clock. Just about every device in my house goes off that's linked to the Wi-Fi. So they don't like their phones. I have them take their phones, put them on table. I have like cameras in my house, so where if I'm not home, I can say, "Hey, clean up your room. Hey, clean up the living room." You know, to the point where I can reach out, talk to them. But the point of it is, like I said, when it comes down to it, emotional triggers, man. I'm not even gonna get into the aspect of relationships because that's a whole nother problem. You know, We grew up with all these bad behaviors and bad thoughts from our parents. And we think it is normal. And shout out to, Roger always says this: when you turn 18, it should be your responsibility to go out here and find these things out that your parents didn't tell you. Like now, with me learning finance, I literally talked to my aunt the other day and I told my aunt, I said, you did an excellent job on raising your kids to know finance. I'm always proud to talk about one of my cousins. He's to the point right now, what is it? This year be 8 years of not working. He retired himself. 8 years of not working right now. And he was like, when I want to go back to work, I can. And he's only what, 53 now? He's budget, save, you know, 8 years of not working. I mean, honestly speaking, who can do that? Who can literally say, man, I don't want to work no more right now. I just want to chill. I just pay my bills and do what I need to do and live life. Like he's writing a book right now. Um, he's just enjoying like just freedom. Like he reads. He don't watch much TV. He reads a lot. He listens to music. He likes watching videos that inspire him to do more. How many people can do that? It, I'm getting emotionally triggered just talking like this. Like, man, I want to do that. But the point of reference is knowing your status, knowing how you can deal with things, knowing the process on getting things done. That's like a trigger to most people. If you don't have that and you can't get that, it hurts you to even just figure that point out. Yeah. I mean, prime example with this, there was a man, he was saying women will buy 4 and 5 Louis Vuitton bags and don't have no life insurance. Ultimately, if you spending 20,000, 10,000, or 50,000 on a Birkin bag, but you can't even put that on a policy, you can literally, Alonzo has spoke about this several times. You could take $20,000, throw it on a policy, do a term policy, 10 years back. I mean, 10 years forward, you'll gain what, 20, I think at least about 20 to some percent off, depending on how you structure it. You can gain about 20% off that policy within 10 years and get the cash value. Or you can get a life insurance policy, pay the whole premium up front, and put it in the index to where off the rip you get something at 7% and it just keep multiplying every year. So by the time you retire, you can have that life insurance paying you every month right along with your social security, with your 401k. But knowing that process on how to do that, a lot of people fail to, they get triggered by this when they get older. There's an older guy I talk to now, one of my real close friends. This guy is 60. How old Rome is? I think Rome's 69 now. Well, he might be finna be 70 because his birthday coming up in October with mine. I think he's about to be 70 years old. Don't you know this guy literally been going through so much medical issues now? And the main thing he calls and talks to me all the time, I like talking to older people. The biggest thing he tells me is, I know you have a lot of insurance and things going on. Make sure you develop a way to save more money. He said, the age I'm at now, I literally thought my pension was going to be enough. They're paying me now, it's not enough. Social Security, I had to take a pay cut because I'm married. He's supposed to get $4,500 a month for Social Security. But because he's married, they dropped it down to 35. He said that extra thousand will be good right now. But my wife, she's getting 1,200 because, her not working a lot and, contributing to her Social Security all these years cut her short. And it gets to a status of not knowing, like I said, it hurts you long term. Not knowing. Passive income, learning to get money without even really working so hard for it. You know, I was just talking with my wife. She was helping somebody get a into like one of those rooming houses. Like what do they call them now? House hack, where you buy a house, get the room, and rent out the rooms. This guy has a 3 bedroom house with a basement, like a split level. The basement split level, it had like storage down there. He took the storage, turned it into 2 bedrooms, and added a kitchen down there. Then he went up to the right there when you first come in the house. They have the living room and they have a dining room sitting area, which it used to be a door there. I mean, it used to be just no wall, it was an open concept. He literally w- walled off that, made both of them into bedrooms, and now this house is a 7 bedroom house. 3 bedrooms at the top that are original, 2 bedrooms down at the bottom that he constructed with a bathroom, and then the living room and the dining area, turned those into rooms. They're pretty small, turned those into rooms, which made it a 7 bedroom house. He's getting $700 a month per room. $4,900. $4,900 he's getting every month now. Passive income. Just built the structure, set out the layout, bought all the furniture so people just come in with their own clothes, and there you go. People are structuring these things like this all the time, but yet a lot of times we're on here talking about relationships. It's either you got it or you don't. You either want to start a family or you don't. You want to be with somebody or you don't. You know, we're talking about money problems. It's not a money problem if you do the research and learn how to save money, learn how to get money. There's a lot of passive things you can do. The government is now trying to get it to the point where if you do Uber and all this paying taxes on it, you get to the point of doing gig apps. Prime example, I don't want to throw the guy's name out. I could, but it's no problem. This guy made $400,000 last year on the gig apps. 400,000. He don't even have a full time job. He can be on YouTube all day if he want to for a whole week straight, and then jump off of YouTube and just go straight to working 24/7 on these gig apps and make his money. A lot of times we work our 9 to 5. Shout out to Big Discussion. It's okay working your 9 to 5, but what are you gonna do from your 5 to 9? What is the status from 5 to 9? Are you gonna work on watching TV? Are you gonna work on eating, sitting around not doing anything? Or are you gonna work pick up a little small job, pick up some little side incomes dealing with things? Are you gonna sit here and try to learn another trade or something that you can make some money from? It's up to you. Because at the same time, the world is steady gonna be moving whether with you or without you. People are gonna always still make money with you or without you, so it's up to you. With that being said, shout out to everybody that came through. You know, think about it. This would be emotional trigger right here, just not knowing what your next move is gonna be. Prime example, when I was in high school, everything on the list I put down came true except me owning a mansion and having about 5 cars. When I was in high school, I wrote down a list of owning my own business, being married, having 2 kids. Everything on my list came true by the time I turned 25. Everything on my list came true by the time I turned 25, except owning my own house and having 5 cars. That was the only thing that I didn't have. I got those later, but the marriage, the kids, business, ever since I've been 25, I got to the point of working for people so much. I was like, let me start my own business. I'm making so many people rich. Even the guy that I work for, he told me, you're smart, you're intelligent, you work for so many people. Have you ever thought about working for yourself? Have you ever thought about this step, that step? And it got me to the point where I could start my own business. Yeah, I could do this on the side. I could do this. Why have a regular job? But the point of it is, it's that motion of you knowing things and people putting you in the right place and the right mindset to get things started. Shout out to everybody once again. I always say when I jump off of here, oh man, can't forget Wanda. You know, morning to you, Wanda. How you doing? Y'all go check out Wanda as well. Wanda, I've been missing a couple of your videos. I've been in and out earlier, so I be moving around. But shout out to everybody. Once again, I always say when I get out of here, we here and we gone. Peace.